How's it going? Today I'm gonna install Windows Server 2016 through Hyper-V, and then we're gonna set up a Windows deployment server. So this is setting up installing the Windows Server 2016 is a straightforward process. If you're just doing a basic install, I'll show you this part just in case we have someone starting out fresh. Every little bit of help someone can get goes a long way. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to pick Windows Server 2016 Standard Edition Desktop Experience. That way there you have a graphical user interface. And press Next. Next. Okay, we'll let this install run through. Then from there we will move on to setting up our Windows deployment server. Okay, just gonna enter in a password now. So on your end, just enter in a super memorable password. Once again, Control-Alt-Delete if you're doing this on a bare metal machine. Control-Alt-End if you're using Hyper-V. Alright, let's get logged in. Yes, okay, so again, just going to adjust the date and time here, which involves just switching to my time zone. I'm in the Eastern time zone, US, Canada. Once that's done, my correct time post. Server manager is just loading now. In that time, I'm going to open up the network and sharing center. I'm going to change adapter settings. Right click on Ethernet, go to Root Properties, find Internet Protocol version 4, hit Properties, use the following IP address. Okay, so let's set our static IP. 192. And let's go high with this one to make sure it's not going to be in use. Enter in our default gateway, and we will use Google DNS servers. Okay, so now we have static set. Okay. So from here, we go to add roles and features. Next, role-based or feature-based installation. Press next. Here, the settings as is. Press next. Now we will do DHCP. Add features. Just press continue at this point. Okay, next, 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 install. Usually when I'm installing a role, I do like to install it one at a time. So at this point, you just we're going to let DHCP install. Okay, so now we just have to configure our DHCP. So we hit close, go up to our yellow caution triangle, and we're going to go complete DHCP configuration, and we're going to commit to it. I'm going to close. Okay, I did forget to do one thing. I shall do it in a minute. I do like to change the name of my servers after installation, and I did forget. But anyways, before that, let's continue on and go to add roles and features. We're going to go next. Role-based, feature-based installation. Click next. Click next. Now we're going to go down to Windows Deployment Services and make sure that is checked. And we're going to press Add Features. And next, 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 next. Now I will tick off Restart the destination server automatically if required. Press yes and hit install. And now we will wait for this to install. Okay, we just got our successful installation. So press close. At this point, what I do like to do is I like to do a restart. So how we will actually force that is now is the perfect time for me to change this computer name. Change, and we will just call this WDS server. Works for me. Press OK. Oops, I forgot. Not that again. I always do that. No spaces allowed. Okay. Yep. Close. Alright, it's just going to go through a restart now. Okay. Since I'm using Hyper-V, Control-Alt-End. Okay, so I'm going to exit Server Manager for now. What I actually want to do is go into File Explorer, over to the PC, local disk, and oh, sorry, not local disk, it's PC. Okay, so actually, I am in a virtual environment right now. So what I want to do is I actually I can do two things here. I can go ahead and you can go into the Hyper-V menu, eject this Windows Server install, and put in the Windows 10 disk. Or I can make a folder within the local disk C and bring in. We're going to do a Windows 10 for the example, and I could bring it in that way. I'm going to show you that way. So we'll C drive. I'm just going to go to New Folder. And we will just call this Windows Image. Okay. Now let's set that there. Let's go to open in a new window. Go to this side. And we will just going to hit my main PC here. So simply backslash my main PC's computer name, backslash OS for operating system, and that's a shared folder. Press enter. And I just enter in the credentials. Okay. So from here, let me just find Windows 10 Education ISO is what I'm looking for right now. There we go. Okay. So that's copying over. Exit that now. As that's doing that and copying, I will show you the other way as well. So let's minimize this for a second. What we could do here is we go to Media, DVD Drive, and we eject the Media, DVD Drive, and we insert disk. Now that disk that I just used, we will find that one on here again, and we will insert that one into the. Okay. Now let's go back here. Let's go to this PC. So now we do have the Windows 10 right in the DVD drive. It's asking us what we want to happen. We don't want anything to happen. We'll deal with that. What I'm going to actually do at this point is, let's see, this is at 22%. Okay, so we're going to let that continue copying. I'm going to enter back into Server Manager right now. Okay, let's go into Server Manager. Okay, just gonna let that copy for a sec here. Okay, so that disk image of Windows 10 has just copied over into that folder that I just made. So another option is you can double click this, and that will make yet another drive. So watch, let's go back to our PC now. There should be, yes, 2 DVD drives. Now we got a virtual D and a virtual E. Both have the same image file. Anyways, you only need to do one of those options. I'm not trying to confuse anybody. I just want to show that if you're doing it through virtual, there's 2 options. Okay, so let's exit this, carry on. So let's go back into our Server Manager. So start Server Manager. Let's maximize that so we can see it. Again, I stated this in a previous video, I do not have a state-of-the-art computer, but it does serve the purpose to me. But again, if it is a bit slow, I do apologize. Okay, so what we want to do is go to WDS, we want to go to Manage, I'm sorry, not Manage, Tools. We're going to go to Windows Deployment Services. Okay, I'm going to maximize this at this point. I'm going to double click on servers, WDS server. At this point I'm going to right click and I'm going to configure the server. So I'm going to press next, and I am going to select standalone server, and that's fine. You really shouldn't do this, but for testing purposes, say yes and continue. And we're going to press next. We're going to respond to all client computers, known and unknown. And we're going to press next. Okay, so right now it is configuring itself. Press finish. Okay, so let's highlight boot images, right click, add boot image. Now we're going to browse. And for me, I have those 2 locations, the D and the E drive. The E drive was the one from the ISO folder that the ISO image, sorry, that I copied over from my main PC. So we're going to go with that. From here, sorry if I do mess this up, I believe we go to sources. Yes, and then you go to boot, open, press next. Okay, the default name, yeah, it's not bad, but it could get confusing if you have several different boot image options. Like if you were to set up a server and were to say you have Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows Server Edition. So to help solve that, just simply put like Microsoft Windows setup or Windows 10 setup. So just that will clarify things. And the description could be same thing. Perfect. Next. Next. It's going to add this boot image here. Hit finish. Good. We're in good shape so far. Now we're going to highlight install images over here. It doesn't matter on the left side, or if you're over here on the right hand pane, and then you can right click and you just go to add install image here. We are going to create an image group name. We could leave that name alone, that's fine. And now we do the same thing. We're going to browse. Now I'm already into that E drive, and I want to select install.wim. Select next. There you go. Beat me to it. I thought I would have been a bit slow there, but now you have several. These are all the variations of Windows 10. I'm only going to select a couple of them. In a corporate setting, Windows 10 Home is useless. So what we will do is I'll keep education. Let's see. Oops. Yeah, we'll skip the Pro as well if I can. I want to see if they have. Actually, we will leave Pro. I don't want to do them all. We'd be here all day. I just want a couple just to show you that you can select different options. So we will keep Pro. We have education. Perfect. So press next. And these you don't gotta worry about renaming or nothing. They're right there for you. Press next. So it's going to add these two images. After these images are added, we'll just ensure that the WDS server is indeed running. And then from there, I will move on to Pixie booting, another virtual machine that I've already set up. Excellent. That did not take too long. So right click on WDS server, go to all task, press start. Now it's starting the services. That should go green up there in a minute. There, that little green play button there. Perfect. So let's minimize this. This is the Windows 10 Pixie that I've already set up. So I'm going to double click on that. And we're going to press start. And I did it as a generation 1. So F12 to get it to boot once it prompts. My apologies, I kind of jumped the gun going into try to Pixie boot. Forgot just one last configuration here in the DHCP. So again, tools, DHCP, you're going to want to double click on the WDS server, highlight IPv4, right click, new scope, next. I'm just going to call this WDS, next, 192.168.0. We'll do from 175, and we'll bump that for example purpose just to one. What's this? It's not going to be a very big range at all. 179, just throwing out there. Okay, so we'll press next. This is if you want to exclude. We're good there. I like to lower this down to 4 hours. Next. Yes, I do want to configure these options now. And you enter the default gateway, which is your router. You add that in. Now at this time, we already have our DHCP, our DNS servers are already in there. So next. We don't have to worry about a Win server right now. Press next. And yes, I want to activate the scope now. Press finish. Checkmark, checkmark. We're good. Again, sorry about that and sorry for the confusion. I'd rather show my mistakes as I make them. It helps make everybody a bit better. Okay, so let's try this again. Windows 10 Pixie. So I'm going to double click that. Start. Again, it's generation 1, so I am going to press F12 once it. There we go. Okay, so it's just loading those boot image files. Again, I do apologize about that little mistake, but I'd rather show it in the video to show that you can recover from it. So right now, from my server, which is the 199 IP, it is loading in the boot images. This is going to take a minute, so I'll cut the video for a few minutes till this loads up, and then I'll show you what I mean by those two options, which can be several options if you choose to set up with the different install image files. Okay, while we wait for that to still load, just when you're setting up your virtual machines, I'm going to go through this quickly. I'm not going to actually finish it and let it go to the end. Press next. You're going to want to name it. I'm not naming this one because I'm just going to go. So if you're doing generation 1, which is what my example is on, you just press next. Set your RAM. Again, I'm not keeping this around, so it's okay. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave this not connected for my switch. You'll see why in a second. Oops. Please set it higher than 10 gigs. Again, like I don't even plan on using this at all. This is just, I should show you how to set both the machines up. So follow this one step that I want to show you. So again, you're going to install, you're going to select your ISO image. I'm just going to select one at random right now. Cool. Now, keep note that for my switch, I did not select, or sorry, for my network interface connection, I did not select a switch. So I'm going to right click on that machine I just made, press settings. When you're doing generation 1, here's what you want to do. You actually want to remove that network adapter, hit apply, and you're going to want to go to add hardware, and you're going to want to add legacy network adapter. Select your switch with that, hit apply, and then if you're doing a Pixie boot, like if this were to be the machine you were going to Pixie boot from your server, you would simply go to your BIOS setup and move that legacy network adapter to be the first one to boot from, and you hit apply there. This is a server setup, again use the legacy network adapter. However, leave the CD image as your top boot, and yeah, that's about it. So just basically make sure you have a legacy network adapter on both ends if you're using generation 1. Okay, now we're just loading up here. So this is our install screen for those Windows 10 images that we pixie booted. Again, do apologize about the speed of my machine. So select your language, select your keyboard input as usual, but that's where we start, so it looks a little different than what you're used to. Aha! So there you go. Now we have to enter in our user at domain. So for that, we would be at, let's see here. Okay, we don't have a domain. Okay, again, a couple mistakes. In the past, when I've set up WDS servers, I have set them up with Active Directory. So this time I did not. When you're setting up with Active Directory, you would simply enter in the actual domain that you set up with that Active Directory. But in this case here, it's still the local computer name. So the format you have to use is your local server name /administrator. And then your password, just to make that clear. Okay, so remember we selected those 2 install images, Windows 10 Pro and Windows 10 Education. So that's what I'm saying. So say if you had Windows 7 boot image, Windows 8 boot image, and then you had various install images of Windows 8, Windows 7, those would all show up. Well, first our boot images would have been selected, and then you'd select from the appropriate operating system. So in this case, we only have a Windows 10 boot image, and we only have 2 Windows 10 variants to choose from. So I'll just select Pro, press Enter. We just press Next, go through the install. And at this point, yeah, it's just going to start installing. And you just go through the process. Again, sorry about the hiccups and mistakes, but I'd rather show them as I'm doing it. I am human, I make mistakes. But at the same time, you can see how my thought process and troubleshooting quickly in order to move forward. And that's, you're going to have to think on your feet in the IT industry, and you're going to have to be quick about it. Again, I'm just finishing. I'm fresh still being a student, just finishing up my course, so, and I already realized that. Anyways, thank you again for watching. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, and thank you again.